Hello, I'm Evan, and currently everything in my life is falling apart. My family, my studies, everything, and all of it happened just because I helped my father at his work. And I wish I could just travel back in time or erase what I found out about him from my memory. It was hard to find anyone who didn't admire my father. Everyone did. My mother, me, his colleagues and partners. You see, he was a rich businessman with his own company, but he started from nothing. So of course, it's hard not to admire a man who did everything on his own and still remained a loving husband and father. And I totally wanted to be like him. I didn't want to take what I had for granted and wanted to be as hardworking as he was. And my parents knew this. So my mom gave me this idea to ask my father to become an unpaid intern at his company during the summer to learn the ropes. I'm not gonna lie, I loved this idea, and I thought Dad would love it too. But he was so hesitant about it, like he wasn't sure if I was needed there and said that I should relax while I'm young. It was weird because he was always saying how a man should be hardworking, even in his youth. I thought this was a test, but of course, the truth was much darker. Well, anyway, me and Mom finally got him to make me an intern, and I was working very hard helping with everything I could. And soon, everyone at the office started to like me so much, saying how much I resembled my father with my hard work. And I could see that my father was very proud of me for exceeding his expectations. I passed the test, I thought, and it made me work even harder. I knew I was working for my future. But soon, something happened. You see, my father was very strict about dividing his work and personal life. He would never talk about his work while at home, because he was fully concentrating on us, like a perfect father and a perfect husband. One day my father went out to some meeting, and he was supposed to take me home that day. I thought he was busy, so I decided to just wait for him at his office since it was unlocked, and I had been in there many times before. While I was waiting there, the phone rang. It was in his desk drawer, so I decided to ignore it. But it kept calling again and again, like every 3 minutes. And I got tired of it, so I decided to answer and to say that my dad was away, thinking maybe it was Mom. I opened the drawer and looked at the phone, and it was weird. You see, my father had 2 phones. One was a personal phone, and the other a work phone. And this phone, I had never seen it before. I answered the phone, and a woman's voice said, "Hey, want to come over today, darling?" I quickly turned the phone off. It wasn't my mom. I didn't know what to do or think, so I just left the office and never came back. My mom tried to ask me what happened, but I just couldn't tell her. And I knew my father knew, but he just acted like nothing happened. That was the reason he didn't want me working for him. From that point forward, I just actively avoided my parents because it was too painful for me to see them talking to each other and smiling. And I couldn't just tell my mom because I found out about it by snooping around. I started to hate my dad and even my mom for not seeing what was happening. One day, my mom confronted me for avoiding them and spending a lot of time outside of the house. I guess she thought I picked up bad habits or something. I was trying to explain, but she was worried for me and started to check my bags and everything else for something like cigarettes. My dad just kept silent because he knew what was really happening and why I was acting that way. But he didn't say anything, and I could just feel my respect for him dwindling away completely. I was so angry, I said, "Ask Dad what's going on." There was silence for a long time. Then they left and went into their room, and I had to listen to them shouting at each other for the whole night. And it was my fault. I mean, was it bad that they were living a lie if they were happy? Then they tried to act normal, like nothing happened, but I saw how everything had changed. After a few months, my mom said they were getting a divorce, and she didn't really explain because she knew I knew. Now they live separately, and I live with my mom, and she is very unhappy. My dad called me recently and told me that I did the right thing by telling her the truth. He also said that he couldn't work normally after the divorce and that he doesn't know if he'll be able to keep the company. And I just keep asking myself if it was my fault. It was my dad who was cheating, but I don't know. I don't know anything anymore, except that I would never cheat because you will be caught eventually, no matter how good you are at hiding it, and it will ruin everything.